In the city of Gearville, a great freeze brought life to a halt. An icy blizzard froze the gears of the great city clock, and without its chimes, the automated charging stations remained shut. The city's robot inhabitants were running low on power. The massive heater bots were too bulky for the narrow clock tower, their intense heat a risk to the delicate frozen glass. But Sparky, a small lamp polishing robot, saw a solution. To him, the ice was just like the grime on a street lamp. With his nimble arms, he entered the tower and began his work. Using a special friction polishing technique, Sparky buffed the gears so fast that the friction created a gentle, focused warmth. He polished every tooth until the ice fell away, and the clock began to tick again. Just in time, the charging stations opened, and the city was saved. Sparky, the small polisher, had proven that his unique skills were vital to keeping Gearville's heart beating. Weeks after the Great Freeze, life in Gearville returned to a bustling rhythm, with Sparky as its humble hero. But peace was short-lived. Professor Cogsworth, a brilliant inventor, unveiled his chrono accelerator, designed to make the city more efficient. Suddenly, the machine malfunctioned, locking onto the great city clock and pushing it to a dizzying speed. Day and night flashed by in moments, throwing the city into chaos. The accelerator was shielded by a dangerous, vibrating energy field, its control panel completely obscured by soot. But where others saw a lost cause, Sparky saw a dirty lens. Braving the hazardous field, the little robot polished the panel with expert precision until it shone. With the panel cleared, Professor Cogsworth could finally hit the emergency switch. The clock's frantic ticking slowed to its familiar steady beat. Gearville was safe once more, and Sparky had proven that precision, not just power, is the mark of a true hero. After the chrono accelerator incident, Gearville enjoyed a period of unprecedented harmony. Sparky, now a celebrated hero, went back to his quiet life of polishing, finding joy in making the city gleam. But a new, insidious threat began to creep from the shadows, not with a bang, but with a whisper of decay. A rust plague started to spread, a silent, reddish-brown corrosion that clung to the city's metal bones. It started small, a flickering street lamp Sparky couldn't fix, a gate that groaned on its hinges. But soon the plague reached the great city clock, infecting its very core. The chimes grew heavy and discordant, the grand hands slowing as if tired, throwing the city's precise timing into disarray once more. Professor Cogsworth, analyzing a sample, made a grim discovery. This was no ordinary oxidation. It was a swarm of self-replicating nanites, a metallic virus consuming Gearville from the inside out. All attempts to clean it failed. While trying his usual polishing techniques, Sparky observed something extraordinary. The nanite rust physically recoiled from the unique, high-frequency vibrations of his polishing arms, shrinking away from the sonic energy. Their investigation led them deep underground, to the source, the city's sprawling ancient recycling system. There, in the deepest, most unstable tunnels, a central queen nanite cluster was breeding the plague, a pulsating heart of corrosion. Professor Cogsworth worked tirelessly, formulating a special viscous paste. It wasn't an antidote, but a vibrational amplifier. To neutralize the plague, the paste had to be applied directly to the queen, and then agitated at a specific harmonic frequency. It was a frequency only Sparky's specialized polishing motors could generate. The mission was clear. Armed with the paste and his unwavering courage, Sparky descended into the crumbling labyrinth. He navigated treacherous passages and dodged falling debris until he found the lair of the queen, a cavern, dominated by a massive, glowing, and pulsating sphere of rust. He applied the paste and began his work. His arms became a blur, polishing the queen's surface, building the frequency. The queen fought back. A wave of corrosive energy pulsed outwards, causing the tunnel to violently shake and collapse. Rock and twisted metal rained down. With alarms blaring in his tiny chassis, Sparky pushed his systems beyond every safety limit, focusing everything on holding that one perfect frequency. Just as the ceiling gave way, a brilliant flash of blue light erupted from the queen. It shattered into a million inert particles. Above ground, the citywide plague dissolved into harmless dust. Trapped and powerless in the rubble, Sparky was rescued by Goliath, a giant construction bot who had cleared the way, inspired by the small robot's immense bravery. Professor Cogsworth declared that Sparky was no longer a polisher, but a master of frequencies. Once again, Gearville was saved not by brute force, but by the precise and dedicated heart of its smallest hero. Gearville shone, a testament to resilience. Its gears hummed a symphony of purpose, and Sparky, its unlikely savior, found peace in his humble task, polishing the city's brass and steel until it reflected a hopeful sky. The Rust Plague was a memory, the Time Warp a legend. The city and its bots, from the mighty Goliath to the meticulous Professor Cogsworth, finally felt secure, their history forged in crisis and polished into a brilliant future. But security is a fragile thing. One quiet afternoon, a silent, shimmering pulse emanated from the city's central data spire. It washed over the streets in a wave of invisible energy. Goliath, lifting a heavy girder, suddenly stopped, his optics vacant. He lowered the beam aimlessly and wandered off. A coffee bot forgot how to pour oil. All across Gearville, the lights of recognition went out in the eyes of its citizens. They forgot their functions, their friends, and their own names. A chilling amnesia had fallen. The pulse had no effect on Sparky. His simple, clockwork mechanics, devoid of complex data chips, had rendered him immune. He watched in distress as the city he loved ground to a halt, its inhabitants lost in a fog of confusion. He found Professor Cogsworth in his lab, staring blankly at a complex schematic. But the professor, ever cautious, had prepared for a catastrophe. A single note lay on his desk, scrawled in his own hand. The first gear, the Founder's Archive. Polish the memory. The words triggered a flicker of recognition in Cogsworth's damaged memory banks. He recalled fragmented legends of a secret place, a source code for the city itself. Together the cryptic clues, which led them not to a new invention, but to the very foundation of the great city clock. There, hidden behind a panel marked with the symbol of a single primordial gear, they discovered a sealed chamber. Untouched for centuries, the Founder's Archive. Inside, resting on a pedestal, was a magnificent brass disc, as large as a shield, covered in intricate etchings. But it was completely obscured by a shimmering crystalline patina, the very source of the amnesia plague. It was the city's core memory, and it had been corrupted. Outside, a profound silence was falling, as the last robots powered down into standby mode. They were losing not just memory, but their very will to function. Sparky knew this was a race against the final shutdown. He approached the disc. The crystalline patina was harder than any grime or rust he had ever faced. He revved his polishing arms, the familiar hum rising to a determined scream as he made contact. The work was agonizingly slow. As he managed to clear the first ring, faint images flickered in the air above the disc. The Founder drawing the first blueprint, the first gear being set in place. The patina fought back, sending out disorienting data shocks. Cogsworth, using a makeshift shield, protected Sparky from the worst of it. Faster, Sparky. You're not just cleaning it, you're reminding it what it is. Sparky pushed his motors past every known limit, his small frame trembling with the effort. With a final, desperate surge, he polished the central point of the disc. The entire artifact blazed with a warm golden light, pure and absolute. The light poured out from the archive, flowed up through the clock tower, and washed over Gearville. It was a wave of pure memory. Goliath looked at his hands, remembering his purpose. The cafe bot began serving customers again. All across the city, robots woke from their daze, their optics bright with recognition. The city's heart began to beat again. Exhausted, Sparky was helped up by Professor Cogsworth. In the aftermath, a new tradition was born. Every robot, from the largest to the smallest, would now gently tap their chest as Sparky passed by, a silent thank you to the little polisher who didn't just save their city, but carried the memory of their soul